Hey everybody, Corey here coming at you with another knife review video. This time it is of the Boos Blades Smoke Mini. This is a knife that I've actually wanted for a while. It is another subscriber loaner. Thank you, Josh. Same person who loaned me the previous review knife, the Bug Out. And yeah, ever since I saw this, which was early on in my my collecting career, I was very attracted to it. The price point kind of turned me off. We'll talk about that and how I feel about that now. But, you know, as a novice knife collector, I felt like I couldn't really justify the price and take the risk on the chance that I didn't like it. So let's see how my opinions have been shaped now that I've gotten to handle this knife. As always, we'll start by opening it up. There's your Boos Blades Smoke Mini. We'll compare it to our conventionally large knife, which is the ZT-0452, and alongside the Ontario Knives Rat number 2. So what you can see is that this is actually smaller than both of these knives. Most knives that I review on this channel tend to fall somewhere between obscenely huge and the Rat 2. As many of you know, the Rat 2 actually isn't excessively small, but it is relatively small, and it's about as small as I would go for my everyday carry. So since the Smoke Mini comes in smaller than that, how do I feel about that? Well, I gotta be honest. I really, really, really like this knife. I really do. Let's get these other ones off the table. I'm gonna be honest. The ergos are really great. The design is great. The fit and finish is great. The steel is great. I actually, for a knife this small, I know I just glazed over the ergos really quick. I just said they were great. For a knife this small, the ergos are actually really good. You can see this is almost shaped to an extent. It's so deeply chamfered. Look at how steep that chamfered edge is, right? So not only do you have the chamfering all along the edge of the knife, but you've got this machining here that's a cutout that even more kind of rounds it over. And you can see that that is on all sides of the knife, all the parts, all the sides of the knife. So not only do you have the chamfering itself, you have these machine lines. I don't want to call them machine lines, but you know what I'm trying to say. These cutouts essentially on the ends that round it off even more. This gives it, this is essentially what I complain about in all my reviews about knives that don't feel comfortable. This is effectively contouring. This effectively rounds, for lack of a better word, the entire knife. However, it still maintains a relatively angular shape on those corners. So while it locks into your hand well, my dog is sniffing my feet. I'm sorry, outtakes. While it fits into your hand well, it's so comfortable, and it's not slipping either. It doesn't want to move left or right. This is what I want everybody to do all the time, especially once you get to the $150, the $200 price point. There's no excuse why a knife shouldn't be as comfortable as this knife is. I'm extremely impressed with how comfortable this knife is. The blade, very thin. As always, I'll put the specs in the description down below. But the blade is very thin, comes to a very fine point. This is an amazing slicer. I would not go so far as to call this, you know, like a workhorse. It's very thin. I mean, it's very, very thin. If you're looking to do, like, if you're trying to cut drywall with your knife or something, I don't know if I could recommend this as the one. Oh, and by the way, we'll do it this way. CPM 20 CV. So this is 20 CV steel, which is exactly what you should expect for a knife that's around $200. It's what I would say anyways. For those of you who haven't noticed, this is also a front flipper. This is my first front flipper, and to be honest, at first it was a little awkward, and now I love this thing. This might be my favorite knife to fidget with at this point. There's no way I can really describe it. When you hit it just right, the way it snaps open, it is so satisfying. I don't even have the words for it. If you're someone who likes to fidget with your knives, oh my gosh, this one is just the best. I love it. I love it more than I ever thought I would. You can also flick it. I'm not really good at flicking, but with absolutely no effort. Because remember, this has a detent that is tuned for front flipping, right? So of course, flipping it out of there isn't going to be that hard. And oh, by the way, the action on the way down, this is actually pretty impressive. It does take a little bit of force, but let's be honest. Here's the thing. This knife is so tiny. This blade is so thin. I'm surprised that I can do this at all. I mean, really. The fact that it actually rolls like that, that's really nice. Let's go into the finer details. Look at the machining on this thing. I am absolutely in love with the machining on this thing. It is so well done. There's so much thought and effort put into this. I love the pocket clip. I love the lines. I love the stonewash finish on the titanium. I love the anodization. I love this interesting backspacer where they kind of leave these gaps between the scales and the backspacer with these almost like standoffs in between the backspacer and the scales. I mean, this is just... I really, really, really like this knife. I like the pivot, even. Just looking at the pivot, I like the pivot. And no, that's not proprietary. It's a normal T8 on the other side. It does have an over-travel stop. It's got everything. These cutouts also cause it to be very light because, well, they're cutouts. I mean, normally people want to, you know, get on and on about milling on a knife. How about you just cut a hole in the entire thing? And none of this, again, none of this interferes with ergos. The only thing I could kind of complain about, the pocket clip, it's pretty stiff. So sometimes it does kind of want to catch when I try to, you know, put it on my pants, or it's kind of hard to put in and out if your pants have a lot of give. But my gosh, I mean, it's so small, it's so light, it carries like a dream. It holds its edge well because it's got 20 CV steel. The jimping, I even like the jimping, and it's got the jimping all the way there. It's exactly where your thumb wants to rest. The Booz Blades logo, it's very tasteful. It's not obnoxious. It's not a big black engraving. It's just... This knife gives me hope. It's been a long time since I reviewed a knife that I actually got excited about. This knife gets me excited. The Smoke Mini really makes me want to get a hold of a full-size Smoke, and I would definitely consider adding one to my collection. This thing is just really nice. And so this is a new thing that I want to add to my videos because I think it's relevant. Could this be the only knife that you own? Could this be the one knife that I have out of my entire collection? I keep it and I say I'm satisfied with this. Let's talk about that. For me, the answer is yes. The quality is there. The materials are there. Even though it's a relatively small knife for about 200 bucks, everything is done so well. And you know what? I don't do a lot of crazy work. I don't stick my knives into the wall or the floor or bags of... I don't even know. I'm not going to BS you there. I don't do anything crazy with my knives. So, a knife this small, honestly, it's probably perfect for my lifestyle because I'm open more boxes and envelopes than anything else. That being said, if you actually like to go to work with your knives, you absolutely can with this. But you're probably going to want to think twice before you go shoving this into drywall or something like that. I say drywall because it's like the only thing I can come up with. It's a very thin blade, okay? Okay, don't go prying anything with this. You know, I wouldn't bet my life on this being my only work knife for the rest of my life. But you know what? For your average Joe, as an everyday carry knife, it's unique enough to show off. It's classy enough to be a gentleman's carry. It's fidget friendly. The ergos are good. It's more than enough for your average Joe's everyday tasks, you know, if it's not a work truck kind of knife. It carries well. It's everything I want. It's everything I want in a knife. And if every knife could be made like this, I would be stoked. So, that's what I have to say. Could this be my only knife? Yes, this absolutely could be my only knife. The only consideration is, you know, if you do crazy work with your knives, I don't know if I would trust the extremely thin blade of this to, you know, hold up to snapping or whatever it might be. You know, just don't do anything stupid with your knives. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This knife got me really excited. Next up, well, I'm not going to say what's next up, but stay tuned. There's some good stuff coming. So, hope you enjoyed this. Check them out if you've been thinking about it. I feel like I say it for every knife, but yeah, get your hands on one. Figure it out. I think it's awesome. I think you think it's awesome too. So, all right. See you guys next time.